everyone, and welcome. We watched it and now we're going to talk about it. We're covering AMC's latest entry to their Immortal Universe, Talamasca, The Secret Order. I'm your host, Tamara, and I'm glad you're here. Joining me is my co host, Lisa. Welcome, Lisa.
Hey, Tamara. Hey, everyone. My name is Lisa Orban. I am an author. I'm also the founder of Indies United Publishing House, and I love all things pop culture, including Anne Rice.
Before we dive in, just a few quick things. First, we want to hear from you, so be sure to leave us a comment wherever you're listening, or you can leave us a voicemail using the SpeakPipe link in the show notes. You can hear your own comment on an upcoming episode. Second, please hit that subscribe button and follow us so you never miss an episode. All of the links for both me and Lisa are below in the show notes. Third, and most importantly, we are laid back in our review style, right, Lisa?
Oh, absolutely, Tamara. This is a conversation, not a dissertation.
Exactly. No scene-by-scene breakdowns here. We jump around, and of course, huge spoiler alert for every show in this world through the episodes we're talking about today. So if you're cool with that, this is the place for you, and we should just jump right in. So we watched the first 2 episodes. What did you think?
Okay, so I have read all of Anne Rice's books, and I know you have not.
Right.
So I am both familiar with this world, but these characters aren't necessarily they're from her books, but not, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
This is a creation based on her books. So far, I'm enjoying it because it seems to be staying pretty true to the idea of what the Talamasca is and the characters. So we'll see.
Okay, so as a non-reader of these books, okay, so obviously we watch the other shows set in this world as well.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, this is absolutely no Interview with a Vampire.
It's not.
It is not. It definitely lends itself to that, espionage type show, which definitely has a naturally slower pace. And this show is showing up that way for me. And the jury's out, even though we're 1/3 the way through the season already.
Well, here, so we had a little bit of an introduction with the Mayfair Wishes about the Talamasca. And it was mentioned briefly in Interview with a Vampire, or specifically the second season, not so much the first. The Talamasca has been around for, if you've read the books, you know that they've been around for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really good guys, but they're not really bad guys either. They're more about trying to maintain the balance between the two worlds. So yeah, they're not really, for humans, they're not really good guys because they know about the witches, the vampires, the werewolves, the things that go bump in the night. And for the most part, leave them to their own devices unless they spill over into more human worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So, a few humans here and there die because of a werewolf or a vampire or whatever. That's just the price of doing business.
Right.
So, and like I said, the characters, they have Daniel from Interview with a Vampire come in. So there's a little bit of continuity between the two shows. And I will say that they have taken some very liberal liberties with Anne Rice's world here. So I recognize a lot of it, but the characters don't always do and act as they're supposed to.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with adaptations. I expect massive changes. And I guess that's kind of a perk of not having the source material in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Because, when I do all of those book to movie or book to TV adaptations on Shelf Addiction, I'm always thinking about the source material. So sometimes I think it's hard for me to enjoy it as it is because that source material is always in my head. So I think you and I will probably get different experiences out of this just because you have the source material and I don't.
I am going to say, if they are doing with the character Helen what I think they are doing, I'm going to be very, very mad.
Uh-oh. Don't say anything. Don't tell me.
I won't.
Because they might change it anyway. Who knows?
They might. Well, and it would be a massive reassignment of a character.
Mm, well,
Um,
they do that
and
on
if they
shows.
do that, I'm gonna be pretty mad.
Oh, no. Okay. You mentioned that they had the crossover with Daniel's character in episode 1. I really enjoyed seeing that. That was a
Mhm.
great hook to catch the viewers that watched Interview with a Vampire, but now I'm wondering if we'll see anyone else from, like, Mayfair Witches. I don't know, I feel like it's unlikely. I feel like they gave us the hook, and now that's it. We're not gonna see anyone else.
I get the impression they're trying to weave these worlds in kinda tight with each other.
Mhm,
In Anne Rice's world, she started with Interview with a Vampire in this particular world, and then, she did the others, and each one was kinda layered on top of the other, kinda like a nice 7-layer cake,
mhm.
and, so that they're there, they're connected, but they don't always intersect, but they do influence each other.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Um, and and a lot of times, so sometimes it's as obvious as Daniel walking onto the set in Talamasca, and sometimes it's just something mentioned,
Mhm.
a throwback to a different, show.
Okay, so
Um,
I guess that means you and I need to be intensely looking for Easter eggs then?
I'm sure they're there. I mean, I don't know what you want me to see at this point,
No, I mean, that's
but
all I'm wondering because honestly, I watched it and it was fine. I enjoyed it well enough. Both episodes were fine to me. I know a lot of people complained about the second episode really slowing down in pace, but it was okay to me so far.
and again, I mean, it's not that I can't point to any one thing and say this has made it awful by this change.
Mhm.
Um, the the feel of the stories, the gothic creepiness is still there throughout the entire series. The mystery, the secrets, the monsters.
Mm,
It's all it's still true to her books, her vision. So
mhm.
I'll give her that. I'll give him that. And they've introduced characters that didn't exist, and then they've merged characters that had two different purposes,
Mhm.
and things like that. So, they do what they do, and it's okay. Um, there's just a few things that again, if they do to Helen what I think they're gonna do to Helen, I'm gonna be very, very mad. That's probably gonna be the first thing that I've really been mad about.
Okay. So, what do you think about Guy in these first 2 episodes? Because I personally have complaints about Guy's character. Number 1, I understand he is untrained, which is
Mhm.
part of my problem. You watch this kid his whole life. You throw him in there with a week's worth of training of which
Yeah.
none of it was about him learning how to use his own freaking abilities.
Yep. Just how to communicate with the Talamasca.
That is dumb as hell. Like,
Yes.
he is just walking around in the dark as he is, in episode 2, he is actually following someone. And I'm like, obviously they know you're back there.
Yeah.
You're so stuck on stupid. You're not good at you have no spy like training, and when he follows the guy to the restaurant and of course, Jasper is there. Of course, we just learned in the first episode from Burton that people people can tell when you're trying to snoop around in their heads. He
Yeah.
didn't learn how to do it. So he's
Well,
like,
I
"Hey,
mean,
who's
a
listening?"
a a well-trained,
Exactly. But he's
eh,
not. And you
but
got
he's
him doing
not.
this dangerous stuff and he's got 0 training.
Yeah. Well, not to mention, I mean, and he's on, what is it, Klopin? No, Calliope, whatever it is. Antipsychotic anxiety medicine. Um, the taking that actually dulls his abilities.
That's what I thought. I said he needs to stop taking it and he
You
needs to learn how to deal with the gift he has.
Right. Because and I'm sure the doctors put him on that medication because he heard voices.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so they put him on a pretty powerful drug, and the fact that they put him on this very powerful drug that he is taking by the handfuls,
Mhm.
well beyond, I'm sure,
Mhm.
recommendations. Um, I if he was not taking those, he probably wouldn't have to so much listen in as much as eavesdrop because he has to be very powerful for his abilities to come through as much as they do, as
Right.
heavily medicated as he is. So, if he wasn't medicated, he probably could have just stood there and heard rather than listened. Does that
But
make sense?
yeah, but that also doesn't make sense to me in the story because if Helen has been watching him this whole time and you know the kid has this ability, why not give him a therapist that can help him low key in secret? You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
didn't have to know the Telemasca did it. They've been lying the whole time. He could
Mhm.
just, I don't know. I feel like it's such a waste. And this character looks so stupid because of the choices they made for him and his abilities. And I know they want, oh, a learning curve, but we've got 6 episodes. We're a third done. What are they going to
Right.
show? What can happen where he instantly is no longer stupid?
Right. Well, and I mean, first off, the that girl that came in that met him at the bar, I'm like, "Oh, she's a plant."
Yeah,
You
that
know?
was obvious.
"Yes, you're my guy." And then they went to the nightclub, which, by the way, I don't know if you noticed or not, was the same one that the Talamasca people had been at when the guy got his wallet boosted, his
Mm,
ID boosted. It was the same place. Yeah.
hmm.
Um, and, uh, and when the other woman approached, the sexy woman, um, and she laid into him, "You're in so much trouble."
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with she's probably a vampire.
You think so?
Mhm.
I wondered, I think her character's name is Olive. I wondered if she was his handler
Might be his handler, but I don't know,
because
the
he
way
hasn't met that person yet.
yeah, but the way that she was acting is more vampire to me, and just because that's his handler doesn't mean that she isn't a vampire.
Yeah, two things can be true. Absolutely. I don't know. Well, that would make sense that it's the same place. It's probably a small little town they're in. I mean, I don't know if they're in London proper or if they're like on the outskirts. I don't know. Do you know?
I don't know.
Yeah,
The one girl kept talking about all the different places around
like the
London and
boroughs and
so on, and
stuff.
he's like, "I
Yeah.
have no idea what you're talking about."
He's like, I just
Um,
got here.
yeah. So, I'm
I
with him.
barely know how to look right before I cross the street.
Yeah. I am with
Yeah.
him on this. I don't know where we are. We're somewhere London-esque, but, I mean, just remember, the UK is small enough that, if you get in your car for 6 hours, everyone talks funny, the cheese tastes or everyone talks where the cheese tastes funny.
Hmm.
So, it's not a big place.
No, it's not. It absolutely isn't. But yeah, I'm
The
curious to
UK is
see.
a day trip in the US. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm really curious to see what they do with Guy and if I can find him likable at the very least. At the very least, I feel like, oh, he's having a tough time. I want to like him. At best case scenario, he turns into like this mega spy that is so good at it. He didn't know he was this good at it. I would love one of the two of those. I don't want him to
Well,
be a bumbling idiot walking around London in episode 6. I don't want that.
I mean, it's very possible that if it follows the Anne Rice arc, he'll end up a vampire at the end of it.
Mm. He might, but hopefully not season 1. He's probably got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
He's
I mean,
he
it happens.
Mhm.
Lestat usually is often involved. Um,
But we're not seeing him in season 1 of this show. He is this
he's
universe's golden boy. Like, that
yeah.
actor, he is chef's kiss. He's not showing up in this show. Not yet.
I'm just saying Lestat is often responsible for some very
It's
poor
something bad.
choices.
Yeah.
Um, and it's funny that because so when we were presented with Lestat from um Interview with a Vampire, he was very much portrayed as a bad person.
Mhm.
Um, and if you read the books, you find out he really isn't. Lestat really isn't a bad person. Um, he can be mean, he can be cruel, he can be very human, which is a problem because humans aren't always a great. But the story told from an Interview with a Vampire was singularly from uh Louis's point of view. And
Mhm.
it was a point of view that was from very much from hurt and feelings of abandonment and pain. So, so yeah, if they keep Lestat true to who he really is. I When we see him next, I think you're gonna like him a lot more because he's my favorite person.
So I am curious to see what they end up changing about him, but in the first, I don't know, 2 seasons, he's not a great person. Season 2 wasn't from Louis' point of view, so not really. It was more like, we got to see him from Claudia's journal and other things, right? So it
Mhm.
wasn't strictly Louis' brokenhearted point of view.
Yeah.
He's not he's not good right now. I'm sure there's reasons for it,
Yeah.
obviously. He probably was done dirty as well. We got some indication of that in the show, right? When he
Well, and
turns people, he
it
doesn't know what they need, what to do with them.
well, it's okay, so you gotta remember from the books, alright, you have to remember that in the books, Claudia was, like, 6 years
Yeah, she
old.
was like 5. I know, but I have to use the
Um
context of the shows that we're
Right.
watching.
I know. So when Claudia was absolutely devastated by the fact that she was turned into a vampire, but she was also quite animalistic because of her age, and then as she did mature mentally, the fact that her body would not ever grow with her became a she resented Lestat for this
Right.
very much. And part of that was because the reason he created Claudia was to try and replace the dead child that Louis had lost. Because he had been a husband and a father, and he'd
Yeah.
lost his kids, his wife and
Mhm.
daughter in a fever. So Claudia was a way to try and give him something that he wanted. It was very bad choice. Very bad choice.
Right, but I mean, okay, so yeah, I knew that because I guess I did know the core story of them. Somehow,
Mhm,
some way I knew that story. But maybe from the movie. The movie had a different treatment, the movies
mhm,
from the 90s. But in this world, the principle is still the same. He did that for Louis,
mhm,
essentially, right? He begged him and he did it,
mhm.
and Claudia resented it. Like the base is the same. But I kinda trust Claudia's view of him more than I trust Louis' view of him, because throughout the season, it seemed like, I know we're not talking about that show, but it seemed like she was more reliable as a narrator than Louis was, because Louis was
Mhm.
love struck the whole fucking time. He couldn't, he has horrible taste in men. He can't see
Yeah.
shit clear. So, I never really wanna trust his point of view 100%, but I feel like Claudia was an outsider for the most part, and she could see.
Yeah,
She
but
could
she
see
was
what was what.
also
She was mad,
deranged.
yes, but I don't know if that means she couldn't 2 things can't be true for her. I don't know if that
Right,
means
and
that.
and I get that,
Yeah.
and I suppose they could take Lestat in a very different direction, but it if if they keep him true to his actual self, um, Lestat is actually a not terrible person. Um, he's not particularly cruel, he's not particularly mean, um, but he is very tormented and lonely, so,
Well, we'll see if he makes a crossover to this world and this part of the story, right? This part of the world
yeah.
to
Well,
do
and
something bad
Well,
or
and the
good.
only reason because Lestat did actually have a very for a period of time, Lestat had a very strong and, connection with the, Talamasca.
Mm. Well, maybe we'll see that in future seasons. I know we're not getting it now. It's
Yeah,
way too early in the game for
yeah.
us to get anything like that, but if this show somehow manages to squeak by and get a second season, maybe. Because right now, honestly, word on the street is, and I kind of agree with this assessment right now as of 2 episodes. Obviously, it's no Interview with a Vampire. That is the crown and glory. That is the show. But
Mhm.
it's a little more interesting than Mayfair Witches right
Yeah.
now.
Sad because the books, the Mayfair Witches were really, um, they were really good, but it was also a lot more, inner monologue.
Yeah, I get it. Hmm. Well, we'll see, because there's no book for this, right? They're just taking them from the world and applying it to this,
Mhm.
show. So they're trying to
Yeah.
pull from everywhere, kind of.
Right, because, I mean, the
Yeah,
Talamasca is throughout the entire series. They do have mother houses in all the cities that they listed. Um,
and they're always
they've
watching.
even had Huh?
They're always watching.
Yes, they're always watching, and that is true.
Mhm,
They're always
mhm.
there, they're always watching. They are a very old, very rich order. They do tend to like They like to live near libraries and religious institutions, but they're also very high tech. So they have this low tech, high tech thing going on, you know.
Mhm.
They do tend to hire a lot of special people
Mhm.
for special tasks. So because you can't it's really hard to be a normal human and go after the supernatural. And
See,
they
you
do
know
have a
what? I think this show would be highly effective if they gave it the monster of the week treatment. Like, he obviously, God would still have his main underlying story throughout the whole he's the through line. He's the
Mhm.
main character. But if he could, like, find something going on or fix something every week, his skill set would grow, but they would need a longer season, I think, for that to be truly
Yeah.
effective. But it could be good, I think. Because I don't know, for me, that second season, it did slow down notably.
Mhm.
But the second episode, I should say, because the first
Yeah.
episode, we got Daniel in there. We were hooked. They hooked us.
Yeah.
And of course, we're going through all of this trauma as he's trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And he decides to leave and go to London. So that was interesting. Was it fast? No, but it was still interesting. And the second episode was interesting as well, but it
Mhm.
did slow down. So I am concerned what the rest of the season is gonna look like if they're not changing, like, what's the formula for this show? I can't figure
Yeah.
it out quite yet.
Well, and I don't because like I said, they've pulled a lot of the facts about the Talamasca into this
Mhm,
show.
mhm,
Um, but there are 1,000 stories because, that it could be about. There was some infighting in the mother houses for a while, there were some issues in the books. They don't sometimes it's just mentioned, sometimes it's, it takes a little bit, off center stage,
mhm,
in the books. Uh, but the Talamasca, it really does what they do really does weave through all of these different threads and different communities that Anne Rice writes about. The Talamasca never had its own series because it's in every
right.
series.
Yeah, they're
You know
just
what I mean?
everywhere. Yeah,
It's
because
everywhere.
that's their job. They're kinda just lurking in the dark, always there.
Right. And I don't think she
Yeah,
ever felt the needed to have a dedicated series to this because they were always there and in a way it was more effective to just we're always here, we're always watching. So as we're reading the books, we're watching the watchers. You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah. Which
So,
actually I think ultimately can really show us if the writers and producers of this show can pull this off because they don't have like a literal page per page source
yeah,
material in the same way that they had the other two shows. So
right.
it's different. They're going to have to do a little more legwork, a little more effort. They're going to have to pull it together and not,
And these are
not
all
make it boring.
well, and these are all characters that again they are from
Yeah,
the Anne Rice universe, but these are wholly made up new characters to go in that are being slid into these roles.
right.
So, I'm looking at these people going, "I don't know who you are." You know?
But isn't that kind of exciting for you? Like, because you know that they're kinda trying to make something new,
Yeah.
right? Of
But I
something that's
but I do kind of worry a little bit because of what they did to Daniel. Are they gonna do something similar with Helen? Is she gonna end up being this character that I'm afraid that she's gonna be? Um, okay, for all of you out there who are who have read the whole series, um, do you think what I'm thinking, who Helen is with the pictures
so,
of the twins?
y'all leave a
Um,
comment but try to keep it spoiler free or use spoiler tags, please, so you don't
yeah.
spoil it for other people. But, yeah, let Lisa know if you think something bad is gonna happen to that character or a
Well,
bad
just say,
change.
I have a suspicion
Mhm.
that Helen is more than what she appears to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
honestly, I'm sure she's gonna be more than she appears because she's so old, quote, unquote.
yeah.
She seems like she's been around and
Mhm.
she seemed like she was old when Daniel was a child, but whatever. Okay.
Mhm.
But we'll see. I don't know. I'm sure they're gonna do something you won't like with that character, but hell, we might not even see her again for several episodes.
Yeah. Well, and it was actually pretty cruel of her when he says, "Well, when will I see you again?" "You probably won't." "What do you mean I'm
Yeah.
not going to see you again?" You know, "Ever?"
Look, she said, "I'm here to recruit you. I'm not your
Mhm.
mentor." So recruitment done. Next.
Yeah.
Um,
Moving on now.
Actually, that was a pretty good recruitment tool she used in episode 1. She's like, "Hey, I know this guy don't have no damn money. I got 5 grand. You want to come listen to, to my pitch? I'll pay you.
Yeah, it
I'd
could have been
go."
I mean, it could have just as easily been 50,
Yeah,
50,000. I mean, again, very old, very rich. They don't, they just have to fill out the petty cash reports.
I'm sure. It sounds like they have long money, very long money. It seems
Mhm.
like that. But a little 5 grand for him was a lot. He couldn't
Yeah.
even pay his rent. So of course he was gonna show up for 5 grand.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
and she knew it.
yeah, obviously. And then of course the whole line where no one believes that these things are real until you meet it, until you see
Right.
them. Which is true. If I
Mhm.
don't believe vampires are real, but if I met one, that opinion would change.
It would. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
I kinda like to be a I kinda like to be a vampire. I wouldn't ever have to cook again.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, sorry. Just
But
these
yeah, I thought
fantasies of no food. Um
look, but I thought, that again, like those things that happened in that first episode were very effective in pulling me in. I was like
Mhm.
all in. I still am all in. I think it's going to be a fun ride, if nothing else. But I have adjusted my expectations based on the second episode. So
Well, I'm
what
excited.
what you have like? Did you have anything specific you wanted to talk about, like in either episode that kind of flagged you to speak on or
I mean, okay, so we know that the curly blonde girl, she's got the book that everyone's looking for.
Mhm.
Um, and the guy that was murdered tried to tell Guy to take the backpack that had the book that everyone's looking for, but he just ran away.
He's a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
He looked at the book and he knew something was interesting about that book.
yeah.
He looked at it several times at the bar. Why
Mhm.
wouldn't you take it?
And so, I mean, they have a lot of threads going on right now.
Mhm.
But I don't but again, I'm gonna reserve judgment because
Mm,
I do know some of my perceptions are are shaded because I have read the books, but
mhm.
since this is wholly new, I don't know if they're gonna try and weave into an existing storyline at this point or if they're just gonna go completely off book. Literally
Mhm.
off book. I don't know. And
So
they could go
this
either way.
so is the item 752, is that familiar to you? Is that in the world or is this new?
No.
New. Okay. So yeah, I think they're just gonna go completely different because obviously it seems like this secret item is what they're looking for. Maybe
Now
it's the
it is
book. I don't
possible
know.
it is possible I could think of one other thing it could be.
Mm.
Um, but honestly, it would probably only matter if Helen is who I think she might be. So it would matter very much to her.
Because I feel like either one thing could be going on. Either Helen is good, and like she said, the London branch has gone rogue, or she's really the villain, and the London branch has gone rogue because they're trying to be good and protect it from her.
Yeah,
So
I don't think Helen's a bad guy.
okay.
I don't think she's good. Okay, don't get me wrong. I think she's Talamasca.
Well, I mean, Guy said she's both, right?
Yeah,
So
and I literally think and that's the whole thing with the Talamasca. They live in this morally gray area. They really are morally gray.
mhm.
Um, but I am gonna go with yes. I think that the London house has mother house has gone rogue.
See, the thing is this though, and I think this applies to pretty much any story. The villain in the villain's mind, they're the hero,
Yeah,
always. They're never doing anything for the wrong reasons. They're the hero in their story.
that's right. Everyone's the
And
hero of their own narrative.
yeah, so I think anything could happen with Helen, and
Mhm.
she could not be what you think in a different way.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll have to see what they do, but I kinda like that it's different, and it's gonna have to keep the readers on their toes because they could deviate at any moment.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't
So,
know.
yeah,
I guess we'll see.
I do I mean, they sprinkled a lot of breadcrumbs in the 1st and 2nd episode.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't think I really kinda wanna reserve judgment until the 3rd episode.
Mhm. I guess that's fair. The 3rd episode will definitely tell me if the second episode was a fluke or if it's gonna be that's the pacing for the rest of the season. Because, like, it kept my attention, but boy, I don't watch a whole lot of traditional spy thrillers, especially British spy thrillers, because 'cause
Yeah,
they're
I don't
always a
either.
little slow to me.
Mhm.
So I'm really curious to see if this is really gonna be similar to those or if they're gonna shake it up a little bit and do
Yeah.
monster of the week or something. I don't know. Make it unique. It's only 4 more episodes, which is crazy. That's such a short season. You don't really have a lot of time to be wasting episodes or
Right.
wasting half of episodes.
And here's the thing, kinda like with In Interview with the Vampires, the first season didn't really end with any resolution.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if that's what they're planning on doing with this.
Leave it like a cliffhanger, open up.
Mhm,
That would make okay, so I could see them kinda splitting the difference. Like,
mhm.
if they don't know they're gonna get another season, they could probably tie up some of the story, but leave a cliffhanger that could be left there, and we can draw our own conclusions, or they can continue. That would be the smart thing. I would split the difference and try to do something that could be left or could continue.
Yeah. Well, and it's even because again, because the Talamasca really is woven in all the way around in all throughout all of Anne Rice's books. Even
Yeah,
if they left it on a complete cliffhanger, you're going, "What?" Um, and they don't get picked up, that's okay because they could weave in that resolution spread out throughout the rest of the series.
maybe.
They could.
They could. I don't know. I guess it will depend on if the writers of this universe talk
Mhm.
to each other. Are we dealing
I
with the
I'm
same deck of cards?
I am
Are
gonna
we
say
all
the feel, the language, so on and so forth, have adhered to themselves very closely so far between the Talamasca Interview with a Vampire and the Mayfair Witches.
hmm,
Um, so I'm gonna go with yes, I do I think that there's at least some coordination.
I hope so. I don't
Mhm.
know. I guess I just gonna ride this out and see how it goes. But I think I was glad they released 2 episodes at once. It was, good to be able to kinda just, I guess, delve into it, even though I did watch the first episode last week, but I think it kinda helped to have them back to back for
Yeah,
multiple
because I watched the
reasons.
first episode right after the final episode, The Walking Dead. So,
Yeah.
I just rolled right in. I went from, zombies to vampires.
Mhm. Did you
Watch
watch
me
it
go.
again or you're just trying to you just have it from last week when you watched it?
I watched it again.
Okay. Mhm. Hmm. Well, I don't know. I don't have anything else. It's kinda like we're just there we got a whole lot of characters thrown at us with a lot
Mhm.
not a lot of context. So, we're gonna have to just see where all these people land.
Yep.
They're killing people pretty quickly already. So, I mean, honestly, out the gate, 2 people are dead.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, and, really for Anne Rice book, that's nothing. You know,
yeah, I'm
that
sure. I'm
that's a
sure.
Tuesday. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess we'll have to see. Guys, leave us comments and let us know what you thought of the first 2 episodes. Are you gonna keep watching? Were you bored? Did you love it? Tell us all the things. If you use spoilers, please, for the love of God, use spoiler
Yeah.
tags.
Yeah. I don't want you don't have to say who you think she is. Just say,
Yeah.
you know, because either you know or you don't,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
So,
Or call in and leave us a message and we can play it if you're right.
yeah, do that. That's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, that could be
I'm gonna
fun.
kinda tell her I'm not gonna give the plot away, but after the episode, I'm gonna tell Tamara what I think.
Okay, bet. I'm honestly, I'm okay with the little spoilers, because it may not happen. So
Right.
it's totally theory at this point.
It is. It
Yeah.
absolutely is just theory.
Mhm.
So,
Okay, I don't have anything else. What about you?
nope, I'm good.
Okay, well, this was a fun quickie. We got to dive into the first part of this world. We're excited for more. Be sure you like and follow, subscribe, all the things so you don't miss another episode. You'll be notified when they go up, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.